Today I speak to the incredibly talented and inspiring Georgia Ezra, an interior designer, an entrepreneur and creative visionary whose work beautifully blends authenticity, culture and soulful living. Georgia is the founder and director of Studio Ezra, a boutique interior design firm known for its timeless, globally inspired spaces that celebrate texture, craftsmanship and individuality. She is also the creative force behind Tiles of Ezra, a sustainable tile brand that brings handcrafted Moroccan artistry to modern homes around the world. Alongside her design work, Georgia has recently added television host and author to her incredible repertoire of work. What makes Georgia's approach so special is her deep belief that design should nourish the spirit, that our homes can be sanctuaries for joy, creativity and well-being. Through her work, writing and speaking, she encourages women to design not just beautiful spaces, but meaningful lives that reflect who they truly are. In today's conversation, we discuss Georgia's design philosophy, her journey as a creative entrepreneur, and how she's redefining what it means to live and design with intention. Georgia, welcome to Her Design, Her Story. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm very excited to speak to you. You have had a truly dynamic career to date and covered lots of interesting pathways, which we'll touch on shortly. But I just wanted to go back to the beginning of your journey. You grew up in New South Wales. Can you talk me a little bit about that first study pathway when you finished school?
Yeah, so as you said, I grew up in Sydney, and I think, as a 17-year-old girl that I was finishing my HSC at the time, I was, we're searching like, what are we going to study? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And I always knew that the interiors excited me. I remember going to my friend Zach's house and his mum had built his bed into the wall, and I was so excited by it. Yeah. And so my mum took me to the Career Woman, and I was like, I'm just in I don't love architecture, but I don't like decoration. And she's like, there's this new course. It's called Interior Architecture at UNSW. And I didn't think twice. That was what I enrolled in. That's what I did. I went straight from school. I studied there for 4 years.
Yeah. And
I got my Bachelor of Interior Architecture in UNSW. It was very clear to me from a young age that was exactly the direction. And when I think about it, when I was younger, I remember this period of time that my parents were actually looking for a place to rent while we were building. And I'd go to ballet every single Saturday. And after ballet, they'd take me to the rental properties, and I'd sit like a young girl with my chin perched on the window, watching houses as I pass them. And all I wanted to do, my secret power, was to be able to see inside the homes.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I'd come into these rental homes and I'd run upstairs to see the bedrooms and what everything looked like. So it was always something that was innately in me from a very young age. There was no questions, ifs or buts. That was the direction I wanted to go in.
That's amazing, because I think often in that creative pathway there are, I've always wanted to study architecture, but as I got older I realised there are all these other vocations in that field. Sometimes it's hard not to diverse from where you started. So I think that's really exciting that you found that pathway so early. Part of your study, you travelled overseas and did some time away. What was that like? Did that really enhance that creativity for you as well?
Yeah, well, when you study at UNSW, there are partner schools around the world that you could do exchange. And so I decided in my third year of studying interior architecture that I wanted to do exchange in Europe. And the course that I could do it with was at the Politecnica de Valencia, which is in Spain, Valencia. Valencia if you're in Spain, Valencia if you're in Australia.
That's excellent pronunciation.
And so I did 6 months there, and that was unbelievable from a life point of view, from just from all aspects. It was unbelievable. Definitely informed so much passion and love for European architecture, being in the middle of Europe at such a young age during your pinnacle of education of interior architecture. You're like, we flew to Amsterdam and we went to the north of Spain, the south of Spain, Madrid,
Amazing.
Barcelona, like everywhere. It was
Yeah.
definitely informing a lot of my passion for European architecture
And I
today.
think wonderful to be able to experience that at the same time as study. I know for me, I did a lot of travel after or in between, which was amazing, but there are so many aspects of that which I sort of thought on reflection would have been quite interesting to weave into what
but
I was
also
learning.
like when you're studying, you become so familiar with what like your educators like and what's typical to Australia or Sydney at that time. And then you go overseas and you're thrown into this group of students from all around the world, and like your educator likes something different. So you're pushed into different areas and you explore your own artistic, desires in a different format than you would.
Opens up your thinking really.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, that's really exciting. So coming back just quickly to growing up, I know often in a creative vocation, there are often people around us that might inspire us to follow that pathway. Did you have anyone in your family or any friends that were sort of in a creative space while you were growing up?
I think that I was always very, I'm an art, I'm very visual.
Yes.
And I think learning growing up was difficult for me, but I always learnt better through visual education.
Yeah.
If I saw it, I understood. That was just like my brain and the way things click for me naturally. But in my family, my sister is like the most creative person I know. She's unbelievable artist. Just everything she does is incredible. And my father is very, very creative too. Not that he got to explore that through his career or anything, but we're Iraqi background. I'm a 50% Mizrahi Jewish. And so I have like that deep, innate, I don't know, I just feel like from that side of my genetics, we're very creative.
Yeah.
And it's with everyone on that side of my family, we're very, so it's been around me all my life.
Yeah.
In addition to that, like my parents, when they bought furniture, it wasn't like modern. It was antiques. They used to take me to auction houses. My desk was like an antique. Everything,
exciting.
my cupboard was like a timber antique. Everything was antique. I had a wrought iron bed. So I was surrounded by beauty in my home, beautiful art and beautiful timber work, and everything was, like something that was vintage or antique and really considered and curated. And my parents have a very deep love for Italy. So our house was designed with that in mind. And so it was around me subconsciously, whether I understood it or not, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And also some of those things, they've got a wonderful history to them. There's just a narrative as opposed to a brand new piece of furniture, which is really special. So when you finished your studies, did you go into working for others before you started your own business?
Yes. So that's how I ended up in Melbourne.
Yes.
So I was employed by an architectural firm straight out of uni, and I moved here and I worked there for 2 years, basically as the only interior architect in an architectural firm. So I really learnt a lot there. I learned a lot about working in teams. I learned a lot about specification booklets and I used to hand draw everything at university. At my time, it was like all about the hand drawing. I'd never used CAD. And I remember once I went away on like a 2-week trip and I came back and they were like, right, you're learning CAD. Because I used to white things out, scan them in, print it out, white it out, draw
skill,
it.
though.
Yeah. And they were like, never again. We're never doing that again. So, I learned a lot working that firm. And then I went out on my own at the young age of 24.
Which is amazing. I was going to touch on that. So just over 14 years ago, you started Studio Ezra. What was this turning point for you, that shift in focus from working in an office to taking the leap to starting your own business?
Well, at the time of ending my working time at that architectural firm, it was a forced resignation. So there was a reason I moved on. But during that time, it was like, what do I do? I was looking for different jobs. I was interviewing. I never in a million years thought that was a time that I'd go out on my own. And I remember I was interviewing with someone who was in the industry, and I happened to mention in the interview, one day I'd like love to have my own business. And she like stopped me right there and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm never going to hire you if that's now that I know that."
Oh, wow.
And I remember like where I was specifically visually remember exactly where I was sitting. And I thought, oh, like I really messed that one up.
It's very challenging when you're young to be.
Yeah, because I was very naive, but I was naive and I said it and I actually understand her perspective, but it was jarring to me.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, I'm sitting in an interview with someone who I was one of two people that were going to get the role. And I said to him, I think one day I want to go out on my own. He's like, "Georgia, you're unbelievable. What are you waiting for? Like, do it now." And it was literally like that was like the moment and the sentence that gave me that that belief in myself, really. And I'll never forget when I worked at the architectural firm, the first ever and last company I've ever worked for full time. One of the directors who was there, I'll never forget, he said to me about me in front of a group of people, he said, "One of the things I love about you, Georgia, is that you're so unapologetically unafraid to ask questions to anyone." He's like, "You just ask." And he said, "That's going to get you far in life because you don't care what that makes you look like."
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that about myself. And so when the gentleman who was interviewing me said, "What are you waiting for?" the first thing that came to my mind was, if I don't know something, I can just ask.
Yeah.
Like I know what I know, but what I don't know, I'll just ask. Like it was like it all came together to me.
Yeah.
And that was when I decided to start my own business. That was literally it. That was the trigger point.
That's amazing. How did you find getting clients and sort of building that side of the business up? Were people referred to you? How did you find that when you started?
I think the journey was tricky and is tricky. I think it's always tricky, right?
Yeah.
But I was very lucky in the moment that I went out on my own. It just so happened that my husband's auntie and uncle, who were renovating a really nice house in Brighton, they were having a lot of problems with their interior architect. And they had brought ideas to me at Friday night dinners, and I had, given them ideas, and I think they really liked
that's good.
like my angle. And so they asked me if I would come on board as their interior designer. And I did. And that catapulted me, like that job got photographed. And within 24 hours of me publishing it online, it was like Frame Magazine was reaching out. It was just like, it really catapulted me.
Yeah, wonderful.
It wasn't a small project. It was a large project. I had no idea how that would catapult me into like the projects that then came ahead. I never started with bathrooms. I started with full houses, I love that, I learned really quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, it's that pairing, like it's amazing to work in offices and understand that administrative side of things and the, reality of running a business. But sometimes there is just that innate ability to be able to visualize and bring spaces together. So I think incredible to have the opportunity to really show what you are capable of really early on.
Yeah.
Not long after starting your interior business, you also launched the stunning Tiles of Ezra. I'm a big fan of your tiles. They're beautiful. They're really unique, considered offering of artisan tiles. In my head, that blows me away, the sense of manufacturing and sourcing and collaborating with people internationally. What was that process like in evolving that brand?
Yeah. Okay. So it was very accidental. It was definitely not on purpose. I will say that when I look back in time, it's very clear to me that I, like many others, love tiles. Like I really do. I remember being fascinated by these incredible porcelain tiles, 60s floral brownie orangey tiles on the floor of my auntie and the splashback of my auntie's laundry room in her home in Coogee. And I even did a whole project for my interior architectural course where like I used the tiles on the bench top that wrapped into the basin, and it was like a whole thing. I scanned them in, and I've always been fascinated with tiles. And so there was a project I was working on in Albert Park. It was a meat, wine and cheese store. And I really wanted it to have this look and feel of like a Mexican hacienda meets French patisserie. Like I wanted this merging of countries and cultures, and I couldn't find what I was looking for here in Australia. It was as simple as that. And so my brother-in-law was born in Mexico, and I was like, Miguel, tell me, where do I get Talavera tiles? And he's like, put me in touch with his cousin who was a sourcing agent. And I brought in some Talavera tiles for this project that lined some of the bathrooms and bench tops. And I had, hand-beaten basins made in Morocco. Like I was just sourcing for the project, not knowing anything would come of it. And when the tiles landed and got through customs, I overestimated a bit of a cost and I made a small profit margin. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Yeah. So I got samples, I took a photo and I pushed it out to an audience, and I had sales overnight. Like I literally had clients ringing me up and say, I want to spec these in this job and this job. So I knew straight away that there was a market for it. Prior to that business, I had like a small little furniture company that I was creating Perspex boxes. And from all of that hard work that I had done to bring that off the ground, and I wouldn't say it's failure, I would say like it just wasn't market desired. Yes. People didn't want it to make it a successful business. Like the work that you had to put in to make a sale was not justified. But because of all the learnings, the work, the list building I did in the architectural industry, I had all of these emails. Because of that, I really believe that was like the reason that Tiles of Ezra like kicked off so well, because I had information, I had knowledge learnt, I understood if you send a photo out and two people come back to you with an order overnight, the significant orders, this is amazing, because I knew how hard it was to sell something else that people didn't want. And I had email addresses of incredible architects and designers straight away. And it was from all of that hard work. So I always say like nothing is a waste of time.
No, and I think it gives you confidence to then pursue the next thing or just read. It can be hard to read what the market wants sometimes. So there's that sort of wonderful, I guess, semi-fortuitous timing, but then that you were able to actually have the confidence and understanding to then do something with that. It would be very easy to have bought the tiles in for that project and say it's too hard or it's too, a bit overwhelming.
I honestly had nothing to lose. Yeah. I was young. I was 25, 26. I had no idea what I was doing. There was no intention to have a tile business. I didn't know what a business strategy was. Yeah. I just knew that I wanted interior work. I loved beautiful tiles. I was like, oh, this is fun. And I was like, let's do this. Like I had zero clue what I was doing. No one knew who I was.
Quite good.
I had no name. I literally had nothing to lose. Yeah. And all I had was naivety and confidence. I was so green. So I just like went forward,
That's good. Yeah, no, it's exciting. And sometimes a better way, if you're sometimes too structured or too, considered with things, sometimes it doesn't work out, then that's when you maybe feel a sense of disappointment or, those kind of things. In terms of your tile business now, I know you design and manufacture a lot of the tiles on your own, so to speak, like you design them. Was that a natural evolution as the tile sales grew to get more into designing?
Yes, I think that like my skill set is creative direction and design. Yeah. That's what I love doing. And so that's what I feed into. That's our strength as a business. And I'm constantly curating ranges, creating colors, designing different shapes, designing, different mosaics, different ranges, looking for manufacturers that I can push boundaries with. I think one thing is designing ranges, but like the entire other, segment to that, which is really the most important part, is how does that look like in manufacture? What do the operations look like? Can we meet demand? There's so many aspects to, the design element that you don't see, but actually are the most important parts when it comes to a product-based business.
Yeah, you posted a wonderful video recently. I think you were traveling in Morocco of people making some of the product, which is really beautiful to see actually, and quite incredible skills they have. Yeah. Has that been an evolution as well, finding the right connections. I think that would be quite
definitely
difficult in a different country.
So I think Morocco is a very special place, and what I love so much about the art form of Zalij, which is what we make there, is that it's centuries old. It, they can't date as to whether it started in the south of Spain or the north of Morocco, but it's an art form from the 13th century.
Yeah.
And the way that we manufacture it today is the way that it was manufactured back then. And I think, you're dealing with artisans. There's a lot of cultural differences. There's a lot of communication differences. And we spent almost, 11 years now curating our teams on ground, our staff on ground, so that we can have really strong operation, very high quality.
Yeah.
Quality is hugely important to us as a company and me personally. And so, yes.
Yeah,
to answer your question.
No, I found it really funny. You posted, I thought that was really interesting. In terms of thinking about adaptability and evolution of business, you have these two businesses sort of running hand in hand at the moment. What's the structure of your businesses like currently? Do you have many staff supporting you, or what does that day-to-day look like?
Yes. So at the moment, Tiles of Ezra is basically 100% of my time.
Yeah.
There are 14 of us globally.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And growing. Yes, it's something that I've decided to invest all of my time into at the moment. I haven't actually designed a home in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because as most people would know, when you're designing a home, you pour 400% of yourself into it.
Yes.
And I've always had a lot of integrity with anything that I'm designing, and always, of course, of my clients. So if I can't do that, I need to put that aside for now.
Yeah.
So when I do that, I have contract designers that come on board when I need, and I will obviously be the creative principal. But at the moment right now, I'm focusing fully on Tiles of Ezra and pouring all of my creative energy in designing new ranges. Like there's probably about 7 ranges that haven't come to fruition. We haven't launched globally that will be launched.
Yeah.
But, it takes a lot of energy and time to do that, especially to do it in a way that that can then be put into manufacture.
Yeah.
Because everything is made by hand, and there's tonal variations, and there's all these different things that you have to think about. So launching a collection is a huge thing. Yeah. But so at the moment, my heart, my soul is being poured into
Tiles.
So that literally, so that the design community all around the world has amazing tiles
for
their
do,
projects.
And I think there's something wonderful about the fact that you've come from a design background designing the tiles, because you can understand, what people might be looking for, or the shapes and the corner junctions, and sort of how the aesthetics are changing and all that kind of thing now. And I think people, in an exciting way, and more able to connect globally with product, and really be a bit more adventurous with what we're specifying as well.
Yeah. I think when it comes to the curation and the design of our ranges, it's always been like the main question that nothing will go on my website. I ask myself, I say, like, would I put this in my own home? And if the answer is no, it doesn't go on our website. Yeah. So it's very much a curation of like things that I get excited about, that I love. I'm not trying to meet like the market's demands or needs. Yeah. But it is very much like this constant marriage of like, do I love it? Would I put it in my home? Would I use it in a design? And will it sell en masse? Yeah. And so there's like the business that feeds into the creative, and that's like a really hard junction to meet all the time, because sometimes you want to push boundaries and be super creative and do amazing things, but 2 clients will buy it a year, you know? And so it's you're thinking with your business cap on, and you're thinking with your creative cap on, and that's, I actually don't mind that journey, actually.
I think it's exciting though. I sort of sense that from your brand as well. It's very considered and curated. Often, sometimes there'll be a tile range, and half of it you think, yep, that's would work, and the other half you're sort of thinking, okay, interesting. If you sort of get these broader ranges. So no, I think that's a really unique part of your brand, is every single tile. Ooh, it's all very well curated and tells a good story. Yeah, which is beautiful. In line with your design and tile business, you have recently been involved in a TV show, which is really exciting, which is now streaming in Australia.
Yes.
Design Down Under. I find this really intriguing, and I was
Yeah.
really exciting to see it was available over here.
Uh,
How did that evolve for you? Because that would have been quite a big time commitment.
yes,
No
that
doubt
is
as
a
well.
crazy story. That is a
Love a
story
crazy
like
story.
anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we sell Tiles of Ezra in the US,
Yeah.
and we were approached by a company called Trade Out Producers, which is they're basically what they do is they get employed by production companies in the US to essentially contact brands for trade out products. So that's like contra products. So getting a product for free for some form of marketing on TV shows.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what trade out means in the US.
Yeah.
And we were contacted by this production company, and they were wanting our tiles on a show called Fix It or Fabulous, which is hosted by a beautiful couple and now very good friends of mine, Jenny and Dave Mars. And they wanted Tiles of Ezra in one of the episodes.
Yeah.
And so the Trade Out production company reached out to us, and we got on a call. It was the middle of COVID. I think it was 2021. The call was at 8:30 p.m. at night on like a Tuesday or Wednesday in the middle of the week. We were in lockdown, and it was really uncanny because my husband Richie and I have been told on a number of occasions that we should have a TV show. We're so funny when we're together, or we've got like a interesting and unique dynamic. Yeah. And so it was so we're sitting in this call, and there were two individuals on the call with us. And about 35 minutes into the call, one of the owner of the company, Kave, who also now is an extremely good friend of mine, he stopped us and he's like, "Have you guys ever done TV? You guys have an amazing dynamic."
Oh, how funny.
And I was like, "No, but that's really random that you say that because we get told all the time." And he said, "After this call, let's jump on a phone call." So he's not a producer, but he's worked in TV production with producers for many years. And so he basically called us after, and we spent the next 3 weeks putting together a reel, almost like a show reel, introducing myself, Richie, our family, our projects, what we do. And it was quite, you wanted it to be entertaining and likable. And then he pitched it to the same production company that does that Jenny and Dave, the Fix It or Fabulous show. And within a week, we had a trade agreement signed. Like they were like, "We want you and we want to pitch you to different networks." So they were pitching us to all different networks. And in the end, Magnolia Network was the network that signed us on.
Yeah.
So that process of like being greenlit takes about like a year, like every door that opened was greenlit, which is like very, very rare in the TV industry. Yeah. And then we found out in September of 2022 that the show is going ahead because, take a step back. We did a pilot episode.
Oh, okay, of course.
And then in September 2022, it was greenlit.
Yeah.
And we started filming in February of 2023.
Amazing. So is that filmed in Australia, in Melbourne? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was filmed in Victoria. We filmed from February 2023 until the end of March of 2024, 5 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Like 8 till, massive days. And it actually aired in Canada, the USA first in August of 2023, sorry. And then it went on Qantas Airways, Singapore Airlines. It was the lifestyle channel of Hong Kong,
I saw it
South
on a
Korea,
flight,
Bangkok.
And I thought, how have I not seen that in Australia? Yeah, it's funny.
So it's really exciting that it's in Australia now because to film something here, but then never to be able to
I know,
show
and also
it.
given it's sort of the home of your brand and where you're living.
Yeah. And also just like we filmed in cafes, in suburbs, in areas, at beaches that anyone that lives in Victoria or lives in Melbourne would be like, "I know that place." It's just like, we should own that. We need to see that show. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's really exciting. Is there any plans for that to evolve? We see how it goes.
Well, season 1 is now on HBO Max in Australia. Season 2 is airing next. At the moment, there's no season 3, but there's certain
see how you go.
talks
Yeah.
around a few
Oh,
things,
that's
which we'll
exciting.
see.
Yeah, that's
We'll
really
see.
exciting. Somehow in the midst of all of this, you have also found time to author a book, which is really exciting, which is publishing shortly. Is that
Next,
right?
I don't know the exact month, but next year, 2026.
Next year.
Yes.
What was the premise again? Was that sort of an evolution? I love how all these stories were evolving
Yeah.
with a sense of happenstance.
I always say, like, as I said before, like, nothing is a waste of time.
No.
Every contact you meet, every email you send, like, there's a spark in there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I self-published a book, I don't know, 9 years ago. And in the process of that, I reached out to the owner of Party Grant Media, which is the publishing company that I'm publishing my book in. And Nick was so lovely. He wrote back to me and I came in and presented, but it kind of was a dead end.
Yeah.
Fast forward to last year, this year, I reached out to him again and it was just so coincidental. He just bought tiles from us.
Oh, right.
And I saw his name in the system and I'm like, Nick, how are you? I'm like, actually, can we talk about a book?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh my God. And that's how we got the conversation started again.
Wonderful.
It was like a full circle. This coffee table book is a celebration of my projects over the last, 10 years. So there's 20 plus projects. And so that's how that came about.
Yeah.
And it's been, I actually never, I know this is really funny to say, but I had no idea how hard it was. It's really hard to write a book. It's really rigorous. It's so time consuming.
And a lot of reflection, which is wonderful, but can also be
it's
quite
like
a big thing to
full
go
heart
through.
devotion. It's nerve-wracking. It's intimidating. All of the above,
Exciting though, and I think a wonderful capture for you at this point where you've had so many wonderful things happening and things are growing and developing, probably a great moment to sort of stop and reflect and see all the amazing projects you've done over the years as well, which is exciting. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Before we move on, I just wanted to take a moment to reflect, I guess, as well, given how many amazing things you've done, and I feel like you just take it on with no doubt, which is wonderful. There's no sort of questioning or anything like that. What would you say would be a couple of key personal attributes which you feel have helped you be able to keep taking on new opportunities and evolve what you're doing?
I think the desire to do is stronger than the fear.
Yeah.
And it excites me. It actually gives me a lot of purpose, like the doing part of it. I would say I have a lot of grit.
Yeah.
Like I'm bashed down every day by whatever it is, my own self-confidence, my negative talk, by someone, by whatever it is. But I don't allow myself to stay down. Like I give myself a time and then I'm like, I'm back up. Like I'm not a victim. I don't feel sorry for myself. I own my state of being, yesterday I had a really low day, but I'm like, and tomorrow I've been given, like my soul is back in my body. I've been given life and like today's going to be an amazing day, you know? So it's that sort of attitude. I'm not a victim. We are so blessed. And I feel like doing is like such a joy and it's so exciting. It doesn't mean that hard things don't happen. Hard things happen all the time. Before this call, I was like dealing with an annoying thing that happened in manufacture, like things happen all the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's like I don't let those things stop me in my tracks. It's like, okay, next. There's too much to deal with to let one thing.
And I think sometimes it's that ability which can then push you further ahead, being able to acknowledge things aren't perfect or not take everything really heavily because otherwise it would all be weighed down a lot. But I think that's an incredible trait to have, to be able to then just find that positivity again the next day and keep going. Because not everyone can mentally turn around.
I think that it's like it's something I force myself to, it's not. But I think many things in our lives, they are choices that we get to make. And I just think I also don't always think, maybe I just don't always think about, I don't care about what anyone thinks of me, I just do.
Which is an amazing quality as well, because
I
can be you become quite self-aware or I feel like when I was younger, I was always worried about what people thought. And I feel like it sort of slowed me down with certain things, which as I've got older, and I think when you become busy with children and life, you just don't have time to worry as much, which can
Yeah.
be quite liberating.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also think one of the things that it's not a personality trait, but it's something that I've, as designers and creatives, we don't stop. It's never about like
Yeah.
what the idea is. It's about like which idea you choose.
Exactly.
And I think for so long I've been like, I want to do this and this and this and this and this. And like, I want it yesterday, right? And I've had to really slow down and teach myself to slow down. And I sit on ideas sometimes for years before I bring them to fruition.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know if that answers your questions, but it was something that I felt I wanted to add.
No, I think that's really interesting. And I think not being scared to then action those ideas at the right time as well, or just taking on new opportunities, I think is really wonderful. And, you never know where it can lead to the next thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Touching on this idea of development, obviously being in a creative space, we're always looking for motivation and new things to inspire us. What are some key ways in life that you seek inspiration? I know it's probably an ongoing every day, but are there any things that you get to sort of experience which you feel really inspire you?
Yeah. I think firstly, like my aesthetic changes and morphs every year. Like what I like, what excites me, what inspires me. It's constantly evolving. I'm really fascinated by different cultures.
Yes.
And ancient architecture and ancient art. There's a range I'm designing, and one of my favorite SKUs, one of my favorite designs was inspired by an artwork that I saw sitting in an old ancient building in Sitra in
amazing.
Portugal last year. So travel, Europe, like artwork that I see in the Middle East, Asia, everything inspires me by like cultural decisions.
Yeah. And having your eyes open all the time, I think, isn't it? Because sometimes at the time you might not realize that that's the thing.
Oh my
that's going to
God,
turn.
eyes open.
Yeah.
Last week I sat from like 9 till 4 designing the beginnings of a new range that I'm working on for America. And I had old Turkish bathhouse books open in front of me. And I'm like I just,
That's exciting.
What can I pull from? And it's never a copy. It's an inspiration of, it's an interpretation of, bringing it to the current day in ways that people would use it. But in their interior can be inspired by these ancient rituals and spaces that don't exist in Australia or really in the modern day in America,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. In line with your design businesses, really plural, you have a busy and involved life outside work with 2 young children. What does that structure of life and work, I know it can be quite a blurred, woven boundary. How have you found that juggling, obviously building some incredible businesses, but also managing?
I will definitely say that it's a juggle.
Yeah.
It's a lot of chaos that we've structured into the chaos that works for us. I think
know everyone finds a way, don't they? Yeah.
I would say my husband Richie is an amazing, amazing soul and life partner. And there's not like, I don't hold like certain responsibilities. Like it's dual. We're in it. It's split. One morning, like he's doing the lunch boxes. The next morning I'm doing it. One day he's dropping that one and I'm picking them up. I'm like, can you do this? Yep. Can you do this? We're like 50% life partners, support of each other 100%. When one person's bucket is empty, the other one picks up. And so I think that that's a hugely valuable and important part of the mix. I would say that our kids have grown up just hearing about everything that we do, the good, the bad, the ugly. Like sometimes my son, who's now 9, will be like, Mum, Ezra 1010 duck egg blue goes with. And I'm like, what are you saying? Like, what's going on? He's like, since seven, because that's like our new like platform. Like they hear everything and we talk about it a lot with them. But they've come with us year on year out to Morocco. They've sat with us with our manufacturers. They know everyone's name. They know a lot, and I think that there are pros and cons to that, but I will definitely say there's a lot of blurring And
Yeah.
what I've learnt though is my weekends are sacred. They are
Yes.
very sacred to me. They are 100% with family, closed computer, closed phone.
That's amazing because I find that really difficult.
It's really hard. And I will say like between Monday and Friday, it's like with the emails and all the things going on, it's like you can't think, there's no, like I can't be creative. So on those weekends, that's when the creativity like it seethes out of me. So it's hard to stop because that's my joy, like the creativity. And that's when it comes when I shut everything else out.
Yeah.
So I don't really stop, but
yeah,
it's very sacred for me to be with the kids and give them all of me on those weekends.
Yeah, and I think it's just that evolving process, isn't it, with age, and you realise time goes quite quickly.
Yep. It's fleeting.
I think, one of the other interesting things in speaking to a few wonderful creative women now is that sense of something tangible as well. Like your children can see the tiles, the projects. They're probably very excited to see you on TV as well. I'm sure my kids would be blown away if I was on TV. Like there's a wonderful tangibility to what you're doing as well, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah.
Which is
definitely
great. Before we wrap, I wanted to ask you some quick questions in her edit.
Okay. I'm really nervous.
There's no wrong answer.
Okay.
There's no wrong answer. Can you remember a first design-related purchase you ever made for yourself?
Yes. So I came to Melbourne at the age of 23.
Yep.
And I obviously had to furnish an apartment, and I went to an auction house and I bought 2 incredible woven wicker, I think they'd probably made in India, beautiful armchairs, $130 for the 2. And I had to auction. I was like, me. I was like, I had to auction. I felt like it was so invigorating.
Yeah, that's
amazing. I've never been back since.
Have you still got them?
I do.
Yeah,
I
think
both.
That's really wonderful. Yeah. Oh, they sound like a good purchase. I know sometimes in design it can be difficult because we see a lot of things we like, but is there any particular thing, artwork, furniture you're currently coveting yourself?
There's an artist that I discovered in Spain. His name is Juan Carlos. I actually discovered him randomly through staying in a place and seeing stunning artwork on the wall and discovered this mount. I thought it would be like a deceased artist. Yeah. And I'm eyeing off one of his pieces of art.
Excellent.
Which he will not let me buy unless I go there physically. He's like,
what a shame.
I'm like, come on, seriously, Juan, you sent me one, send me another. He won't. So I have to go and collect it in person.
Oh, how funny. Next travel destination, actual or aspirational? Is there anywhere that you would love to travel to, or any next trips?
Yeah, I'd love to go to Cyprus.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
Cyprus or parts of Greece. I'm like, it's calling my name at the moment.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be really interesting. Design faux pas you secretly love or love to hate?
Okay. Pendants hung the wrong height level.
Ah, yes.
Or the right height. Like love to love is like the right height level. Like I like super low.
Yeah.
Or super high, but there's an in-between that it actually hurts my eyes.
It is a bit awkward.
It really hurts me.
And that's one of those things, I've been talking to a few people about curtains and curtain drops.
Oh, it kills me.
And it's a bit like that, you walk in and you can't pinpoint quite why the space feels a bit odd.
It needs to have a 30
mil
mil drape. Like the more dust it collects, the better. I was saying this the other day to a friend. She just laughed. I'm like, bring on the dust.
You'll notice it if it's wrong. Yeah. Can you describe your aesthetic in 3 words?
Okay, so I would say humble, like not intimidating, humble, authentic and warm.
Yeah, beautiful. The final question, if your style was a celebrity, who would it be?
So, okay, I'm going to tell you who I'd want it to be, like who I feel like it is inside but maybe hasn't expressed itself yet.
Yeah.
And it will in the years to come.
Yeah.
It'd be Carrie Bradshaw.
Oh, perfect.
Like layers and like textures and but approachable, but always structured, like always a heel.
And good at that sort of quirky
composition.
Yeah.
Like knows how to bring in color, but it's not like, I mean, it can be bright, but it's still considered.
Yep.
I don't know. That's I feel like who I am inside, but haven't necessarily expressed herself
She's on her way. Yeah.
She's on her way.
Thank you so much for your time today, Georgia. It's been really wonderful to speak to you.
I've absolutely loved it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.